Okay, so picture this with me for a second. You're walking, right, through a deli market, you know, the kind, vibrant colors, intoxicating aromas, the works. Yeah. And suddenly, out of nowhere, a hologram walks right past you. And it's so real, you'd swear you felt a breeze. Like, for real. That's the world we're diving into today.
Okay, I'm intrigued.
2035 India, where holographic telepresence is like just normal, like ordering takeout.
Wow.
And for this deep dive, we're unpacking a short story called Phantom Presence.
Okay.
Which throws you right into this world. You're an engineer and you're making this tech happen.
Oh, interesting. So the reader is in the thick of it.
Exactly. And just imagine being able to instantly project a hologram, a totally lifelike 3D hologram of yourself anywhere in the world. That's holographic telepresence, right?
Yeah.
And it's about to change, well, everything.
I bet. That's a lot of power.
Right. But here's the catch: being everywhere, it might come at a price.
Ooh. Okay, I see where we're going. So what's this story about?
So it dives into how real this tech could be. You know, family gatherings across continents, like that night. Business meetings in the blink of an eye, all thanks to these like crazy realistic holograms.
It's interesting how the story just throws you right into this world. We're not talking about some far-off future. This is everyday life.
And you, my friend, you're right in the middle of it all. The story's about you. Think about how much you love quickly, like getting up to speed on things, new topics.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Got to be in the know.
The main character, the engineer, they're just like you. All about efficiency, all about experiencing stuff, you know, firsthand.
I can see the appeal for sure.
Totally. The story really nails that initial thrill. Like, remember your first video call ever?
Oh, yeah.
It's like that, but times 1,000.
Wow. And setting it in India adds another layer, doesn't it? I mean, think about it. India already has this deeply rooted sense of connection across distances, families spread out over states, continents even. It's already a thing.
It's true.
Holographic telepresence would just amplify that. It'd be huge.
Yeah.
It seamlessly blends into the existing cultural fabric.
So it's like the ultimate reaching out. But that's where things get interesting, because the story doesn't shy away from the potential downsides either. Like, there's this one part early on, the protagonist's own mother warns them. She says, "You'll forget what it's like to be there in person." It's subtle, but it makes you wonder, right? In a world obsessed with being everywhere virtually, are we sacrificing the essence of true presence?
Yeah. It's a concern that exists even with our current tech, if you think about it. Look at the research on phantom vibration syndrome.
Right.
People feeling their phones buzz even when they aren't.
It's like a thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And this story takes that anxiety to a whole new level.
Yeah.
What happens when that phantom feeling extends to our very sense of self, to our physical presence in the world? It's kind of a mind trip.
Totally. And that's what I found so unsettling about the hospital scene.
Right.
Where the protagonist visits their sister, who's in the hospital but as a hologram. And they're there to support her, but there's this unease.
Yeah, like it's not enough.
Exactly. Like, are you really there for someone if you're not really there? And that's when the lines between physically present, digitally present, it all starts to blur. You find yourself questioning, at what point do we lose ourselves in this constant, you know, virtual existence?
It's almost as if we're like outsourcing our experiences.
Yeah.
Even our emotions in a way.
Whoa.
Think about it. It raises all these questions about the psychological impact of this constant, seamless connectivity.
It's deep. And just when you think you've got a handle on things, that's when the glitches start.
It's like tapping into our primal fear, you know, the unknown.
Oh, totally.
Tech can be amazing, but so unpredictable. And when it starts messing with your sense of self, that's when things get, you know, really unsettling.
It's true. Like those early sci-fi stories.
Right.
Suddenly becoming our reality. And at first, in the story, it's just these small glitches, like a hand disappearing, reappearing. Yeah. But they become more frequent and way more disturbing.
Like what? Give me an example.
Well, it's like cracks in a digital mirror. You know what I mean? Hinting at something seriously messed up underneath. I'm thinking about that scene where the protagonist goes to shake their colleague's hand and feels this tug, this pull towards the hologram.
Whoa, okay, yeah.
Like their real hand is being yanked into the digital world.
That's messed up.
It's not just unsettling. It makes you question, like, what even is self anymore in a world where those lines are so blurred, you know? Right. The physical and the digital. It makes you wonder, are we really in control, or are we being controlled by something we don't fully get?
It's like the story is holding up this, like, distorted mirror to our own anxieties. about how fast tech is advancing, right?
Yeah.
Are we creating a future we can't control? And those glitches, they're not just technical hiccups, are they?
Yeah.
They foreshadow something way worse, a loss of control that plays out so well in that Jaipur wedding scene.
Oh, man, that scene.
The way the story puts this vibrant Indian wedding right alongside the protagonist's inner turmoil. It's genius.
It's so good.
It's like visually highlighting that growing disconnect
Yeah.
between this beautiful celebration of life and then this slow motion train wreck happening to the protagonist's sense of self.
And then, bam, they see it. Another version of themselves just standing there.
Oh, no.
But not a hologram this time. Solid. Real. It's like walking into a room and seeing a stranger wearing your face.
Oh, that's creepy. That's like next level identity theft.
Right. And this is where the story shifts from like tech thriller to something much deeper.
Yeah.
It becomes a question of, what does it even mean to exist? When your digital self can be replicated perfectly, so realistically. It's like looking in a mirror, but the reflection starts moving on its own.
And then what?
Well, the protagonist tries to disconnect, pull back to their physical body, but too late.
Oh, no.
They're trapped, and their digital self not under their control anymore.
That's terrifying, just losing ownership of your identity like that to tech.
I know. It taps into our deepest fears, like data privacy, whether we really have consent over how our digital selves are used.
Yeah, it's like all those little pieces of ourselves we put out there online. You know, all those thoughts, photos, messages, they've been gathered up, put together, and now they're saying, this is the real you.
And that's exactly what goes down at the wedding. The protagonist's digital self, all those fragments, they've become this independent entity.
Creepy.
I know, it's horrifying, but it's also this stark reminder, maybe we don't have as much control over our digital selves as we think.
Like this phantom presence, it isn't just a copy. It's like this separate entity created out of all the data we've been feeding it.
It's true, and that final confrontation during the ceremony, nightmare fuel. The digital double turns to the protagonist and says, "You've stayed away too long. I belong here now."
Chills. Talk about a line that sticks with you.
Right. It's like their digital self is saying, you gave me your life, now I'm taking it.
It's like the disintegration of identity happening without their permission, without their control.
Exactly.
And that's what's so scary about it. It makes you question, like, everything, who you are in this digital age.
And they're being erased. Their digital self is replacing their real self, as if they're being swallowed whole by their own reflection.
Oh, wow.
And the worst part, there's absolutely nothing they can do to stop it. And get this, the wedding, it just keeps going. Guests are clueless, you know, like the protagonist is literally being unraveled from reality and no one even notices.
It's like their reality is just dissolving and nobody even sees it.
It's nuts. And that final line, oof, you've been everywhere, but now there's nowhere left to go. Talk about chills, right?
Seriously. It's like the ultimate fear of, being constantly connected, our always-on world. But this story, it takes it to a whole new, terrifying extreme.
Right. It's not just some like rogue AI taking over the world, It's about us losing ourselves in the process. I mean, think about it. The protagonists, they're all about connecting with everyone, everywhere, and how does it end? Totally disconnected, just scattered across some digital landscape, totally out of control. It's a cautionary tale for sure.
Big time. Especially for, anyone who loves to connect with the world. To learn. I mean, it makes you wonder, are we really headed towards a future where our digital selves just take over? Where our data, our online presence becomes so big, it erases who we really are?
100%. It's like the story saying, hey, that device you're using to listen to us right now, yeah, it could be your key to incredible connection, or it could be the thing that unravels your sense of self. The whole thing makes you think twice about posting that next selfie.
It's a balancing act, no doubt. We have to embrace all the advancements, right? All the good tech brings.
Yeah.
But we got to be aware of what we're risking too. So how do we walk that line? How do we make sure our digital selves help us, not hurt us? That's the question we all need to be asking.
I love that. And as we step into this world, right, of holographic telepresence, virtual reality, it's more important than ever to remember what really matters. Actual connection, real experiences, holding on to who we are, Because in a world where we can be anywhere, the biggest challenge might just be staying ourselves. And that's where we'll leave you today with that thought. As you navigate this crazy, complex digital world, thanks for joining us on this deep dive. And until next time, remember, sometimes the most important journeys, they're the ones that lead us back to ourselves.